Today is Monday, February 13th. What's known so far about more flying objects the U.S. military shot down over the weekend? And more classified documents have been found where they don't belong and handed over. We'll tell you who had them this time. Plus, we're of course talking all about the Super Bowl, from the championship team to the halftime show's big reveal and even the commercials. Those stories and more news to know to start your week next. Welcome to The Newsworthy. All the day's news in around 10 minutes. Fast, fair, fun, and on the go. I'm Erica Mandy. Thanks so much for being here. You ready? Let's do this. For the second time in 4 seasons, the Kansas City Chiefs are NFL champions. They beat the Philadelphia Eagles 38-35 at last night's Super Bowl. It was a close game throughout, and it was one of the highest-scoring Super Bowl games ever played. There were also a few historic firsts, like it was the first time the title game had 2 black starting quarterbacks, the first time 2 brothers played each other, the first time a black woman coach was on the sidelines, and the pregame military flyover included all women pilots. Chiefs quarterback Patrick Mahomes is the first player to win MVP and the Super Bowl in the same year since 1999. Oh, and he did it all on an injured ankle. Already, Kansas City is planning a big victory parade for this Wednesday. By the way, the Super Bowl is the most watched TV broadcast in the U.S. And because of that, today is one of the most common days of the year for people to take off of work. The Workforce Institute estimates a record 18.8 million workers will be no-shows today because of last night's big game. Coming up later, we'll tell you all about the stuff that really sent social media into a frenzy, the ads and the halftime show, both with some surprises. Pentagon and intelligence officials are trying to make sense of 3 more unidentified objects spotted flying over North America. U.S. fighter jets shot them down on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. The first over Alaskan waters, the second in northern Canada, and the latest over Michigan's Lake Huron. And of course, this was just about a week after the U.S. shot down what it says was a Chinese spy balloon off the Atlantic coast. The head of NORAD would not say if the last 3 objects were also balloons or where they came from. But he said because of the Chinese balloon, there's a heightened alert to look for anything unusual that pops up on radar. So it's not clear if there have actually been more flying objects than usual, or if militaries are just more readily flagging things that might have, in the past, been allowed to pass. The latest objects were reportedly smaller than the Chinese balloon and flying lower. But because of where they were flying, there were concerns they could get in the way of passenger jets, which is why leaders wanted them destroyed. Either way, American and Canadian crews are now working to recover and analyze the wreckage, hoping to learn more. It has now been a week since one of the worst earthquakes of this century hit Turkey and Syria. And amazingly, rescuers are still saving people from the rubble. That said, the chances of finding too many more survivors are dwindling. At this point, more than 33,000 people have been confirmed dead, and the United Nations says the death toll could double. Thousands of buildings collapsed, and one business group estimated the damage at more than $84 billion. The earthquake that struck last Monday was a powerful magnitude 7.8, and there were several strong aftershocks, too. But officials still say this tragedy wasn't totally unavoidable. They think faulty building construction made things much worse. So Turkey established earthquake crimes investigation bureaus to identify contractors and others responsible for the buildings. And arrest warrants have already been issued for more than 130 people. Meanwhile, help is pouring in from all around the world. Thousands of aid workers have traveled to the disaster zone, and more are on the way. Plus, millions of dollars have been donated through online fundraisers and in-person donations. In fact, over the weekend, one anonymous donor from Pakistan reportedly walked into the Turkish embassy in the U.S. and contributed $30 million to help earthquake victims. If you want to donate, several organizations are still collecting, like the International Red Cross, Oxfam, and Doctors Without Borders. Back in the U.S., even more classified documents have been found where they weren't supposed to be. The FBI searched former Vice President Mike Pence's home on Friday, and agents found one more classified document there after about a dozen turned up last month. Also, sources tell news outlets like the AP, lawyers for former President Trump have turned over more papers marked as classified in recent months, as well as a laptop and thumb drive. As you know, that's after an FBI raid turned up more than 100 classified documents at Trump's home. A federal grand jury has been hearing evidence in that case for months. And another team of investigators is looking into President Biden, since documents with classified markings were found at his former office and Delaware home. So far, it's not clear what was actually in any of these documents, But Presidents Biden and Trump and former Vice President Pence all say they did not take anything on purpose, meaning they didn't commit a crime. To be continued. A leak in a major fuel pipeline caused some brief panic over the weekend, but things are back up and running now. The Kinder Morgan pipeline delivers gas and diesel from the Los Angeles areas east to places like Las Vegas and Phoenix. It also serves airports and military bases. And when the leak was discovered, it was forced to shut down. With that, it didn't take long for people to brace for the worst. Video showed West Coast drivers in long lines at gas stations, many waiting for an hour to fill up their tanks, since they didn't know how long the leak would take to repair. But things are back up and running now. It's still not clear what caused the leak, how much fuel was actually lost, or if there was any environmental damage, but an investigation is underway. More news is coming up, but first, this episode is sponsored by ZocDoc. I love interacting with talented people, whether it's the people I work with here at The Newsworthy, shout out to our producers Emily and Aaron and our audio editor Baz, or it's simply the waiter who offers exceptional service, making a night out even more special. I always appreciate that feeling of ease and trust. But perhaps getting talent and quality from your doctors is one of the most important. And when you find the right doctor, you can feel it. You feel heard, you are put at ease, and you trust their advice. Well, ZocDoc can help you find the doctor that's truly right for you, which means finding quality care may only be a few taps away. ZocDoc is the only free app that lets you find and book doctors who are patient-reviewed, take your insurance, are available when you need them, and treat almost every condition under the sun. Millions of people use ZocDoc's free app. So go to ZocDoc.com/newsworthy and download the ZocDoc app for free. Then find and book a top-rated doctor today. Many are available within 24 hours. That's ZocDoc.com/newsworthy. ZocDoc.com/newsworthy. Pop and R&B superstar Rihanna returned to live performing in a pretty big way. She sang 12 of her hits in just 13 minutes on the NFL's biggest stage at the Super Bowl, her first stage performance in 5 years. Beforehand, a lot of people were wondering who might make a cameo, like maybe it would be Jay-Z or Drake, since they've collaborated with her in the past. Well, the big surprise cameo turned out to be her baby bump. Yep, Rihanna's rep confirmed she's expecting her second child, making her the first pregnant woman to ever headline a Super Bowl halftime show. The singer had her first child with her boyfriend, rapper A$AP Rocky, last May. He was also there in the crowd, cheering her on. This year's Super Bowl commercials featured humor, celebrities, and lots of nostalgia. For example, Ben Stiller reprised his role as Zoolander in a Pepsi ad. The stars of Breaking Bad brought back their old characters for Popcorners. Tennis champion Serena Williams starred in a Michelob Ultra ad with a classic Caddyshack theme. And John Travolta sang a song for T-Mobile to the tune of Summer Nights from Greece, just to name a few of the top ones. Of course, the hope for all of these brands is to capture the attention of roughly 200 million football fans, so much that some advertisers paid more than $7 million for a 30-second spot. And that only buys them the ad time. It doesn't even factor in what it costs to make the ad itself. Whether people decide to give their business or not, they're at least left with a little humor and catchy songs, since most commercials kept it pretty light this year. It turns out breaking up with a celebrity can cost a lot of money, even if you're a successful international sportswear company. Adidas says it's expected to lose $1.3 billion in revenue this year because it cut ties with Ye, the rapper and designer formerly known as Kanye West. You'll remember Adidas ended its 9-year partnership with Ye last year because of comments that even he called anti-Semitic. And that means the company can't sell his Yeezy clothing and shoes anymore. Adidas is still hoping to repurpose some of the remaining Yeezy clothing, but that's apparently easier said than done. The sportswear giant says this just means 2023 will be a year of transition and that it will eventually get back on track. In response, Adidas shares have plummeted on the European markets. It's the latest in a string of recent accidents and near misses at U.S. airports. An American Airlines jet collided with a passenger shuttle bus at Los Angeles International Airport. It happened as the plane was being towed from the gate to a parking lot on a taxiway, so the plane was not full of passengers, but there were passengers on the bus, and 5 people got hurt. Thankfully, they're all expected to be okay. Still, the FAA is trying to figure out how this happened. Meanwhile, the NTSB is also investigating how an American Airlines plane almost hit a Delta jet last month, and another close call earlier this month when a FedEx plane came within 100 feet of a Southwest Airlines flight. Stay tuned. The woman who's known as the Queen of Salsa had a lifetime of achievements, including gold records, Grammys, and a National Medal of Arts. And now Celia Cruz is being honored again by becoming the first Afro-Latina woman to appear on the American Quarter. She's one of 5 honorees who will be on quarters in 2024. Others include a Civil War surgeon, a civil rights activist, a voting rights activist, and the first woman of color to serve in Congress. The American Women Quarters program does what the name suggests, portrays prominent women throughout history on the U.S. Quarter. Past honorees include Maya Angelou, Eleanor Roosevelt, and Sally Ride. The program started last year and runs until 2025. That's it for the main news, so now it's time for Money Monday, when we talk about one interesting money-related news story. But first, a message from our sponsor, Indeed. All right, fellow business owners, if you enjoy getting these news highlights quickly, then check out Indeed to get the highlights you need to hire well. With Indeed Instant Match, you can instantly receive a list of quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job description. So if you're hiring, you need Indeed. Indeed is the hiring platform where you can attract, interview, and hire all in one place. Find top talent fast with Indeed's suite of powerful hiring tools like Indeed Instant Match, assessments, and virtual interviews. With Instant Match, as soon as you sponsor a post, you get a short list of quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job description, and you can invite them to apply right away. In the minute I've been talking to you, 16 hires were made on Indeed, according to Indeed data worldwide. Indeed knows that finding people with the right skills makes all the difference when you are a hiring team of one. Visit Indeed.com/newsworthy to start hiring now. Just go to Indeed.com/newsworthy. Indeed.com/newsworthy. Terms and conditions apply. Cost per application pricing not available for everyone. Need to hire? You need Indeed. Okay, now back to Money Monday. Early warning, Valentine's Day is tomorrow, and it's not just for couples anymore. This year, Americans are spending big money on all kinds of loved ones. The National Retail Federation says altogether, Americans will spend about $26 billion on the holiday of romance and love. Of those who plan to celebrate, the NRF says that breaks down to about $193 per person. That's up more than $17 per person from last year. And most of the increase comes from people getting gifts for friends, coworkers, classmates, teachers, and even pets. What exactly are they spending it on? The NRF says the top gift is candy, followed by greeting cards and flowers. Other items on the list include fancy nights out, jewelry, and clothing. The survey doesn't factor in inflation, but costs for a lot of that stuff are up from last year. In the end, it doesn't look like inflation is stopping people from spending on Valentine's Day, but the survey says most people are planning to take advantage of sales and promotions where they can. All right, thank you so much for listening today and making us part of your everyday routine. We'll be back with much more news to know tomorrow. For now, have a great day.